Did you know that many men are trapped in a real emotional matrix created by female manipulation? In this video, we'll unravel what we call the female manipulation matrix, a complex pattern that uses femininity, vulnerability, and emotional games to influence and even control relationships. You'll understand how these dynamics work, how to spot signs of manipulation, and most importantly, how to break out of this matrix without losing the ability to create genuine connections. If you've ever felt confused or emotionally drained in a relationship, this content is for you. Stay until the end, because this information can transform your perspective and help you regain emotional control of your love life. Inside the matrix, how female manipulation works. The female manipulation matrix is a system that operates in a subtle but extremely effective way, combining elements of vulnerability, attraction, and emotional dependence to trap men in manipulative dynamics. It all starts with small, seemingly harmless gestures, but which have a clear objective: to create a sense of exclusivity and connection. For example, a woman can strategically compliment a man by saying something like, "I've never met anyone like you," while simultaneously projecting an image of vulnerability by sharing personal stories that arouse the male protective instinct. These behaviors create an early and deep emotional bond. Another common tactic is to alternate between moments of intense attention and periods of detachment, leaving the man confused and constantly seeking approval. This alternation creates a cycle of reward and frustration, similar to how addictions work, where the man gets stuck trying to win back the attention or affection he has lost. In addition, manipulation often relies on ambiguity. Contradictory messages, such as showing interest while establishing emotional barriers, make the man invest more time and energy in trying to understand the relationship. This system is not random. It works because it uses universal human weaknesses, such as the desire for connection and the search for validation. Recognizing how these patterns operate is the first step to getting out of the matrix and regaining your emotional autonomy. The illusion of femininity, the matrix's most powerful tool. Femininity is often perceived as a desirable attribute, but what many men don't realize is that this quality can be a facade. Women who project an image of femininity may actually be manipulating male perception in order to gain emotional and social advantages. This manipulation often manifests itself through an exaggeration of vulnerability, such as tears or sad stories at strategic moments, designed to arouse the male protective instinct. For example, a woman might share a seemingly personal problem or even cry in situations where she needs something, creating an artificial sense of intimacy that disarms the man emotionally. This kind of behavior can have a profound psychological impact, creating a false sense of loyalty and connection. Men exposed to these tactics often feel that it is their responsibility to take care of this person, even if the relationship is draining their emotions or leading them to ignore problematic behavior. This perception, however, is often fueled by a carefully constructed illusion. That's why it's essential to distinguish authentic femininity from manipulative femininity. Genuine femininity is based on real vulnerability, with consistent actions and mutual respect, while manipulative femininity uses inconsistent attitudes, strategic compliments, and sudden changes in behavior to maintain emotional control. In addition, the media and social norms often reinforce the ideal of the fragile and idealized woman, romanticizing behaviors that mask manipulative intentions. Recognizing these differences requires attention not only to appearance, but also to the intentions and actions behind them. How can you assess whether gestures of vulnerability are genuine or manipulative? This starts by observing whether the behavior is consistent over time, or whether it seems to emerge at opportune moments to gain an advantage. Understanding these nuances is not only about protecting yourself, but also about maintaining the ability to create real and healthy connections. The hidden danger of emotional manipulation. One of the biggest challenges men face in relationships is emotional manipulation, which often operates subtly and invisibly. Women who appear highly feminine can use this quality to influence men's emotions, creating an environment where emotional control is exercised without them realizing it. This manipulation can take many forms. For example, intentionally ignoring messages or creating emotional tests, such as asking for constant proof of love and dedication, are tactics that generate insecurity and make men feel they are always in emotional debt. A recurring mechanism in this type of manipulation is the intermittent reward. The woman can offer attention, affection, or affection at specific times and suddenly withdraw it, leaving the man confused and emotionally unbalanced. This alternation between warmth and coldness activates the same brain reward system observed in behavioral addictions, such as gambling. The man ends up investing more and more in the relationship, trying to win back the lost affection, without realizing that he is trapped in a manipulative cycle. The long-term effects of this type of manipulation can be devastating. Men subjected to these dynamics often experience anxiety, low self-esteem, and in more serious cases, even depression. The constant feeling of stepping on toes and the incessant search for approval drain their emotional and mental energy, leaving them emotionally drained and confused about what is going wrong. To avoid falling into these traps, it's crucial to recognize the signs. Look out for behaviors that seem inconsistent or overly controlled, such as sudden mood swings or unreasonable emotional demands. A genuine gesture is consistent and unpretentious, while manipulative attitudes often create a cycle of expectation and frustration. Set healthy boundaries when you notice manipulative behavior, making it clear that you will not tolerate attitudes that compromise your emotional health. Learning to identify these dynamics is essential to maintaining your ability to connect emotionally without giving up your stability. The power play in the matrix: how you lose control without realizing it. Relationships between men and women often involve a power dynamic that can be complex and in many cases damaging. Women who are highly feminine can use tools such as appearance, charm, and mystery to establish a position of emotional control. Mystery, for example, is a powerful weapon. Acting secretive or creating gaps in your personal narrative arouses curiosity and makes the man strive to fill those gaps. Similarly, appearance can be used strategically to capture initial attention and establish a psychological advantage, creating the illusion that she holds something extra that must be conquered. One factor that often unbalances this dynamic is the role of emotional dependency. Men who become excessively attached to their partner's validation or attention tend to cede control of the relationship. For example, a man who constantly seeks to please or avoid conflict can inadvertently reinforce manipulative behavior. This dependency creates a balance where the woman holds more power because she perceives that he is willing to sacrifice his own limits in order to keep the relationship stable. Another crucial point is the impact of male self-esteem on this equation. Insecure men are more vulnerable to these power dynamics, as they often seek their partner's acceptance as a way of validating their own worth. On the other hand, confident men tend to attract more balanced relationships, as they don't get caught up in cycles of emotional manipulation. To cultivate a healthy power dynamic, it is essential that men maintain their emotional independence and set clear boundaries from the outset. This can mean setting personal priorities, such as hobbies, career, or friendships, that don't depend exclusively on the relationship. In addition, practicing assertive communication is key to ensuring that both partners feel respected and valued. A practical example would be to address manipulative behavior with phrases like, "I notice that some attitudes make me uncomfortable, and I want to understand how we can resolve this together." This demonstrates self-confidence and prevents conflicts from escalating. At the end of the day, true strength in a relationship comes not from one party's control, but from partnership and mutual support. Recognizing these dynamics and acting preventively can transform toxic relationships into more balanced and rewarding connections. How can you maintain your emotional independence and create relationships where power is distributed fairly? Warning signs in the matrix. How to know you're being manipulated. One of the most important skills men can develop is the ability to recognize warning signs in a relationship, especially in situations where emotional manipulation may be present. These signs can be subtle, but often include behaviors such as excessive jealousy, attempts to isolate the man from his social circle, or even the use of emotional blackmail to get what he wants. For example, phrases like, "If you really loved me, you'd do this for me," may seem harmless, but they are often designed to induce guilt and manipulate decisions. One of the most common methods of manipulation is gaslighting, where the woman makes the man doubt his own perception of reality. This can happen when she denies something she has said or done, even if there is evidence, or when she minimizes his concerns, saying things like, "You're exaggerating, it never happened." This kind of behavior can lead a man to question his sanity and cede even more emotional control. Real-life examples also help to identify manipulation. Imagine that, after showing constant affection and attention, the partner suddenly pulls away without explanation, leaving the man confused and insecure. This sudden withdrawal can be followed by a warm return, creating a cycle of anxiety and relief that keeps the man emotionally trapped. Another example would be inconsistency in actions, such as promising something and never fulfilling it, or constantly changing his mind about the limits and expectations of the relationship. When you notice these signs, it's essential to react strategically. First, trust your intuition. If something doesn't feel right, there's probably a reason. Talk to trusted friends or mentors to get an outside perspective, which can help validate your concerns. Also, set clear boundaries by communicating assertively. I realize that some attitudes make me uncomfortable, and I think it's important that we talk about this. This direct approach demonstrates self-confidence and prevents manipulation from continuing unchallenged. Recognizing the warning signs is not only a skill for avoiding toxic relationships, but also a tool for preserving your emotional health and well-being. By becoming more attentive and acting proactively, you not only protect yourself from manipulation, but also strengthen your ability to build healthy and balanced connections. After all, genuine relationships are not based on emotional games, but on mutual respect and authenticity. Man's role in the matrix. How you feed manipulation. Although the female manipulation matrix may seem externally imposed, many men, without realizing it, contribute to this system thriving. One of the main behaviors that feeds the matrix is the constant search for female validation. Men who base their self-esteem on a woman's approval tend to ignore signs of manipulation, tolerating attitudes that compromise their dignity. For example, if a woman alternates between warm attention and subtle contempt, he may try even harder to please her, believing that he needs to do something more to win her back. This behavior reinforces the manipulative cycle as the woman perceives that she can shape his actions by using small doses of affection as a reward. Another factor is the fear of rejection or loneliness, which makes many men avoid confronting toxic behavior. Imagine a man who feels uncomfortable with his partner's constant veiled criticism or mood swings, but prefers to ignore or justify these attitudes in order to avoid a conflict. This passivity creates space for the manipulation system to continue operating. Finally, exaggerated idealization of the partner also plays a significant role. Men who put their wives on a pedestal tend to rationalize manipulative behavior as normal or even their own fault. The solution begins with self-awareness, understanding that seeking external validation or accepting harmful behavior only strengthens the system. When men learn to value their emotional independence and set limits, they stop feeding the matrix and become partners in more balanced and healthy relationships. Escaping the matrix. How to break the cycle of manipulation. Breaking out of the female manipulation matrix requires a combination of self-knowledge, insight, and action. The first step is to recognize the patterns of manipulation. Pay attention to recurring behaviors, such as alternating between affection and distancing, compliments followed by subtle criticism, or situations where you constantly feel like you're stepping on eggs. When you spot these signs, it's crucial to separate emotions from logic. For example, instead of reacting impulsively to an unexpected gesture of affection after days of coldness, ask yourself, is this genuine or part of a pattern to keep me emotionally invested? Developing the ability to observe without being emotionally captured is essential. The second step is to create clear boundaries. If you feel you are being manipulated, communicate directly but calmly. I realize that some attitudes leave me confused, and I want to better understand what you expect from this relationship. This shows self-confidence and puts control of the conversation in your hands. Finally, invest in your emotional independence. Men who have clear goals, hobbies, and friendships outside the relationship are less likely to fall into the matrix. Imagine you have a hobby such as photography or sports. If the relationship starts to negatively affect these areas, it's a sign that the balance has been lost. Direct your energy towards yourself and observe how this changes the dynamic. Getting out of the matrix doesn't mean moving away from love, but rather creating relationships based on mutual respect and balance, where manipulation has no place. Why sharing knowledge is your best defense against the matrix. Finally, it is essential that men share the knowledge they have acquired about the dynamics between attraction and emotional manipulation, so that others can avoid similar pitfalls. This exchange of information can take place in various ways, through support groups, online forums, social networks, or even podcasts aimed at male emotional education. These spaces offer a safe environment for men to discuss their experiences without fear of judgment, strengthening collective awareness of manipulative patterns. An empathetic approach is key when helping other men. It's important to avoid blaming them for not having noticed manipulation before, as confusion and emotional distress often make it difficult to see clearly. Instead, listen to their stories, validate their feelings, and offer practical advice based on personal experiences or the knowledge you have acquired. This welcoming attitude can help them regain confidence and make more conscious decisions in their relationships. In addition, emotional education should start early. Teaching young men to recognize signs of manipulation and to value their emotional independence can prevent future problems. This can include encouraging skills such as assertive communication, setting limits, and developing a solid self-esteem. For example, workshops in schools or accessible educational content can make a significant difference in shaping more aware and balanced individuals. The positive impact of support networks cannot be underestimated either. Sharing experiences in a collective environment creates a sense of community and solidarity. Imagine a man who has just come out of a toxic relationship and, on hearing the story of another who has overcome a similar situation, realizes that he too is capable of recovering. This kind of exchange strengthens not only individuals but the community as a whole, promoting a cycle of mutual support. The demystification of emotional manipulation and manipulative femininity begins with every conversation, every shared story, and every man who decides to raise awareness among others. By contributing to this network of knowledge, you not only support others, but also strengthen your own emotional journey. How can you start sharing your experiences and be part of this transformation? We've reached the end of the video, and you now have the tools to identify and escape the female manipulation matrix. Understanding the patterns of manipulation, strengthening your self-confidence and improving your communication are essential steps to break out of this dynamic and build relationships based on respect and balance. Remember, the power lies in recognizing emotional games without falling for them. Share this knowledge with other men, because together we can build a more conscious and stronger community. If you like this content, leave a comment, like the video, and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.